Hi, it's Alex from Ingage, and today we're going to talk about our presentation design philosophy and what makes a great presentation. The right place to start is, why do people get Ingage? Why do they spend time creating a presentation? Well, West Shore Home saw a 9% increase in average deal size. CNL Ward had a 7.5% increase in closing rates. We know that visual presentations are 43% more persuasive. That makes a big difference in customer experience. So people aren't getting bored. We know that not all reps perform the same. So how can you create consistency in that sales experience and make everyone perform really great? Well, telling a story is really what it comes down to. We've seen folks that have gone from 130-page PowerPoints to 30 pages inside Ingage, and when they give a presentation, their customers feel like it's a shorter presentation, even if it's the same amount of content, just because it has less pages. And we all know that one of the most important things is the first impression. If you show up with a wall of text, people are going to tune out immediately. They've seen that before. They know it's going to be boring. Stats show that verbal and written information is only recalled 10% of the time 3 days later. That's not good. You're guaranteeing that they're forgetting what you're telling them. We've distilled our design principles into 4 things. The first one is focused information. How do you drive the conversation? How do you prevent them from getting ahead of what you're trying to talk about? The second is professional design. This is all about looking good and building trust. You're showing that you care. Next is meaningful interactions. So how can you quickly tell a story that would usually be difficult to explain? And of course, intuitive navigation, which is all about reacting to your audience and only showing them what's relevant. Let's talk about focused information. People are going to read what you put in front of them, which means they won't pay attention to you. Think about what should be in the sales script and what should be on the screen. Showing information in the right order is really important. Make sure they're not getting overloaded, or try to think about things in the wrong order. And this is our Zen philosophy: uncluttered screen, uncluttered mind. A huge part of your brain is dedicated to processing visual information. So if there's a lot of things on screen, there's going to be a lot of things going on in someone's mind. If you show them things one at a time, they'll be more apt to have the headspace to understand each one. And lastly is seeing. There's this book by John Medina called Brain Rules. He's a molecular biologist and talks about the science behind how our brain works and how that affects our lives. So remember our stat from earlier about how only 10% of written and verbal communication can be recalled 3 days later? If you add a picture, that stat goes way up to 65%. You've gone from expecting someone to forget something to having really good odds that they'll remember it. So in my presentations, I like to illustrate everything, never just have text if you can help it. Okay, here's some examples. This is a timeline, which begs for interaction. Boom. Here we are in the year 2000 doing innovation. And here's one about a company's reputation page, not unlike the page I'm using here, where you can go in and talk about them one at a time. And this is a page about their values. What's cool is that you can talk about as many or as few as you want to, and just dive into the ones you think someone will really care about. This brings us to professional design. This is all about building trust by looking good. Visual consistency. This is the secret to looking professional. Your presentation should look like it's made from the same materials. Imagine you only have 3 colors to work with. And using the features in Ingage, like themes and page templates, makes it super easy to achieve this without even trying. Next is typographic hierarchy. Challenge yourself. Did I make the thing I want people to read first as big as possible? Can you ensure what someone is going to read first, second, and third? If you have competing content, maybe tuck it into a pop-up so there's always a clear focus for the page. And then there's strong layouts. The page layouts we put into the product are a great starting point. We spent a lot of time measuring and designing them, and we'd love to see what people do with them. Make sure to use the built-in 40-point margin on the edges and observe the navbar safe area. Meaningful interactions. This was my big Vanna White moment. But seriously, how can you bring a little showmanship into your salesmanship? Okay, so first up is progressive disclosure. You actually do this every day on your phone when you launch your mail app, navigate to your inbox, and read an email. And you can do it in a presentation when explaining something too. You start way out. Here we are on planet Earth. And then we zoom in. Now we're getting closer to the surface. And then here we are at your house. So this is a really quick way to move someone through a complicated idea. Now, here's a house, and here's a kitchen. And you feel like that kitchen is inside the house. But I can assure you it's not, because these are just two random stock images. It's really interesting how your brain links them together. What I like to see when architecting information is maybe you had 7 pages in a PowerPoint with related information. Can you take all of that and present it on one page, group it all together, explain it, and when you're ready to go to the next page, you're somewhere new. So here we are in a field. The grass is rustling. You're looking at it. But why? Because there might be a ferocious tiger that wants to eat you. So let's turn again to our friend John Medina. 30% of your brain is always processing visual information. And we've evolved to pay attention to things that are moving because most of the things that can kill you are moving. This is human nature, plus we're already super good at watching TV. It's like a mind control device or something. And this brings us to our last principle, nonlinear navigation. We like to say, have a conversation, not a presentation. It's little things, like letting you tap only on buttons that are relevant. The sections in the nav bar are really important to let you quickly get to where you're going. Our Choose Page button in the lower right corner of the screen is super powerful. It lets you jump to any page in the presentation. Then there's our Open Presentation feature, which has been really transformative for our customers. It lets you link presentations together so that you've got everything you need at your fingertips, but the presentation size never gets too big. All right, so what are the next steps in your journey? Check out our marketplace. This is full of sample content that you can use to get started on your presentation and manufacturing content that's ready to go with product information. We've got a great video that we'll link in the description below with tips on how to get the most from it. You've already found our YouTube channel because you're watching our video, so make sure to like and subscribe. Then there's our knowledge base, which is a great resource for technical documentation and step-by-step instructions. And lastly, we've got our amazing analytics system, which can let you know how long users are using your content, where they're spending the most time, and maybe what's not being used. Now, I hope you've got a better understanding about what we think about when designing presentations. Thank you so much for watching. Reach out with any questions, and we can't wait to see what you make and hear your success stories.